You're listening to iCannabisRadio.com.
And welcome to All About Cannabis with Genifer Murray. We're here on our first Thursday afternoon. It's kind of crazy. I like it, though. I like Thursdays much better. The good news is Dave Maddalena from the Hemp Connoisseur and his hemp radio show is up next. So hopefully you guys can get a couple hours of cannabis enjoyment. And I have special guests today. I have Eric White from Gaia's Garden. How we doing?
Hey, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And I have Jason Emo, a.k.a. Giddy Up, from Emotech and
What's
Gaia's
going
Garden. What? Should I never say anything?
Ever.
Oh,
Like
sorry.
I had just said.
Oh, stop. Oh, the secret's out now. Anyway, I had no idea, honey. Sorry to
bust my bubble.
Oh, stop. Giddy Up. I love that. I should tell a story about that, but I won't. Anyway. So it's very interesting. I've known Giddy Up. He was probably one of the first people I met, of course, cold calling in a dispensary in Colorado Springs about almost 4 years ago. God damn. Time's flown. And then Eric, probably a few months later, also cold calling Gaia's Garden. And Gaia's Garden is an edible manufacturer, more like a, what is the, what I'm trying to say, top shelf edibles, or I don't know.
That's what we like to say.
You know what I'm saying? Well, you are. I mean, you've always had
quality, handcrafted, confection, chocolatiers.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And you guys have always had really great packaging, well before your time, for sure. And then Emotech, one of Giddy Up's other companies, is an extraction machine, closed loop.
Yep, we are.
Step up to the microphone, honey.
We are
Get
the
up there.
leaders in closed loop technology. We've been making it We've been formed as a company a few years now. We were doing closed loop machines before that, before we actually decided to release them to the public, and we win cups with them. We have a lot of big players that use them, and
So tell us about the latest cup.
The latest cup,
Yeah.
the Amsterdam cup.
Amsterdam.
And
it was your first time? Was it your first time?
First time going, first time anything, and it was real nice to bring home a cup.
Yeah.
For the first time going out there. I've noticed some little differences, like between I've done the Denver Cup, I've done the LA Cup, San Francisco, haven't done Seattle, which I'm doing next year. I don't know. It's just like a whole different format than all the cups here. It's totally separate. The same people. That was the 26 Cannabis Cup there. So
wow.
Yeah, those people have been running it since day one there. All the people that run the Cannabis Cups here in America it's a different crew. So it's a total different way. Like voting process, all that stuff is different than it is in Amsterdam because what they do in Amsterdam is they take your product and they send it out to all these coffee shops. And then people with judges' passes go around to each one, and they say, I'm a judge from the Cannabis Cup. Do you have anything for me?
I like that.
And they fill it out, and they give it back in. So it's spread around, and, it's more of a Tory kind of, and because seeing all the coffee shops there, is one of the largest parts of that attraction.
Right.
The cup itself in Amsterdam, it was the smallest cup I'd ever been to.
Right, which you were telling me before, and I'm very surprised at. For some reason, I thought, that was the King Daddy, but I think a lot of people, it's too expensive to get there.
I think, it's it cuts down on the traffic because it's so hard to get there for most people. And to be funny, if you walk around Europe, or if you walk around Amsterdam, even in particular, and you're like, where's the Cannabis Cup? They're like, the what?
Really?
Oh, they have no clue. It's like they do absolutely zero marketing in Europe, it seems. I met a handful of Europeans actually inside the cup.
It's all Americans.
Yeah, it's all Americans.
God. Americanizing everything, even the freaking Cannabis Cup in another country.
No, I think it's kind of always
kidding.
been like that. But the attitude the attitude of the Dutch people in Amsterdam as far as cannabis smoking, which is what the trend says you will see in the United States if it keeps with the legalization and the access, is it becomes the things that people look like that kids do. Quit being a kid. Quit going to the coffee shop smoking pot. Grow up.
Really?
It's not you're a bad person. It's
Right.
not you're a criminal. It's just like, really, dude? Yeah.
Grow up.
Yeah.
See, that's so weird to me.
And it was weird to me. It was
Yeah.
very weird to me to see like they just don't care. Like it's not even worth the
Right.
discussion. You just smoke pot up. We started, having rules and regulations. Just terrified. What are we going to do?
June of 2010.
Right. This is all crazy falling apart. We think, every time we turn around, it's another rumor about Philip Morris coming in to take all of our jobs. And
we thought that was a reality.
We thought we lost sleep over it.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, a lot of us, we didn't have much coming into this. We were living on a dream and some change, and working 60, 70 hours a week, not collecting a paycheck. Yeah, I mean, for not just weeks, but years,
Yep, I was a year and a half.
Yes, to every day waking up to a news article that affects you to the point of...
Or a federal letter.
I
mean, something, and everything stops.
And eventually, I started to see it the longer I was here and the longer I'm sure Eric's had the same experiences. What else are you going to throw at me? I've taken everything that you can try to do to stop me from doing this.
Constantly waiting.
And I'm
for the
growing.
Shoe to
Right.
drop.
And I'm being more successful. And I'm taking the things that you're using to try and stop me.
And
like the people that wanted it isn't that way now, but early on in the regulation, you saw people that were clearly trying to get in there to stall.
Oh, for sure.
right.
There still are. Smart Colorado. Sorry, I'll say it right now. Smart Colorado. Ridiculous.
I'm not even familiar, but it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't have a name. These random,
Smart Colorado of all things.
We're going to pass this regulation because soccer moms and everybody have been waiting for us to hear this, and we're going to pass it in such a way that if you don't have a couple $100,000, it will strangle your company until you can't exist.
Right.
Once we started overcoming those, and it's like these guys were getting creative. They were like packaging rules that could turn you around.
No, they brought in posters that they downloaded pictures off the site of candy and all this stuff that weren't even real.
Right.
And, brought in the emergency specialist. And it's like, okay, so let's see. You had 200 in a year, and stuff that's under your kitchen counter was like 8,000. And did any of those kids die? No. Well, what happened? Oh, they were lethargic. They threw up.
What's the worst thing that happened? Let's hear it again.
Yeah. They had a great night's sleep for 2 days.
Yeah, and
And I'm not underplaying that at all.
But
there are things that kill you.
Guys and guys and gals like us in this industry, seeing the press and the media flip out about a kid getting his hand on a marijuana edible. It's like, tell me the story about the kid that didn't survive getting his hands on the pill bottle. You don't want to tell that
or the
story.
alcohol bottle.
Right. Mm-hmm. You don't want to have that talk.
No.
But if a kid eats it, and we'll say at the worst case, he throws up and he's disoriented and stoned
sad.
And sad and doesn't feel good.
Right.
He will wake up tomorrow. When you get into
and feel fine.
Yeah, when you get into the Vicodin bottle, which we want to talk about making opaque packaging so kids
we're not
can't
saying any of this should happen by any means.
Right. No, right. But it's to us to see the press run with it.
They always do. And every story's pot weed. They never say cannabis. And then the first day of recreational sales, I don't know about you, but I saw guys in suits. I saw grannies. I saw 21 to 81.
Everybody.
And who do they pick out? The person that looks like the type that they want to put the stoner type.
Flat brims and hat pins.
I love that. Somebody said that the other day too. The flat brims. Funny.
Real quick, get back to that. One of the things that we see now is tamper-proof packaging, child-resistant packaging, opaque packaging, so you can't see the product you're buying anymore.
Which is terrible.
Which I think it's bad, but I see how they're coming to it, and I'm willing to work with them on it.
Of course.
But at the same time, what color are most pills? Pastel colors. color are sweet
M&Ms.
tarts.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, and
You want us to-
vitamins and gummy. I mean, it's for adults too.
We're a much safer product, and we have asinine levels above, what the
regular
industry
industries
has to do.
I know.
So,
Well, why wouldn't they just do? See, I went to a dispensary and I saw the childproof, and it's actually pretty crazy, and that's fine. But the actual package, you should be able to see it, and then you can put it into an exit package. And then if you choose to leave that out, well, then sorry, you should be in trouble for. You gotta lock up.
Undue burden that they just place upon the industry. Is that
right? It's called you having to parent is what it's called, and it's ridiculous. And we need to take a break. We'll be right back.
Cannapunch is a delicious and effective medical marijuana beverage proudly made right here in Colorado. Each bottle is freshly infused with 100% pure flower extract from the highest grade marijuana plants available today. Using proprietary extraction methods, every bottle of Cannapunch is consistently and reliably infused with an exact milligram dosage that you can count on to relieve your symptoms each and every time. Cannapunch is delicious. There's never any medicine-y taste. We use only 100% cannabis flowers. No trim or byproducts are ever used in Cannapunch. It does not require refrigeration and comes in convenient, resealable multi-dose bottles from 60 milligrams to 200 milligrams. We have drinks with dosage that works best for you. Cannapunch is available in a variety of delicious flavors like black cherry, watermelon, pineapple mango, and blue raspberry. And we now have strain-specific beverages available just for you. Cannapunch is delicious, convenient, consistent, and effective. Give it a try and experience the Cannapunch difference.
Call Canisher at 1-800-420-5757 for all your insurance needs. Canisher understands the risks you face each day, and we are there to protect your business and your investment. Since 2010, Canisher has been serving the cannabis industry nationwide. Call Canisher at 1-800-420-5757 or visit us on the web at canisher.com to learn more about our insurance and risk management services. Proud member of the NCIA.
I'm Gary Johnson, and you're listening to iCannabis Radio, and I want to say, talk it up, Colorado.
So, part of the childproof stuff is we were in task force meetings, and all of their things were the kids, and it's like when you stood up and talked about what about being a parent. Like, if you are a responsible parent and you lock up your liquor, you lock up your pills, then guess what? You can just put your cannabis items into one of those things that are locked up. I mean, your guns. It's like, why I didn't have a kid. Why do I have to parent?
It's, and honestly, if we're talking about taking cannabis that doesn't hurt anybody.
Doesn't kill you.
And we're talking about locking it up with guns and pills that you can OD on. And the fact that us being probably is about as liberal as you can get in cannabis consumption, us four people in this room, we still agree with you to lock it up. We still say take it and keep it away.
Exactly. Right. You don't want the kids to be. I know, and that's one of the things I pointed out. It's like none of us want kids sick and all of this. None of us do.
Even if we have to do something that puts us in a position to make it look like it's a harmful product when it's not.
Right.
We're saying do something with it that technically and with all reasonable that you shouldn't have to do if you're parenting.
And a good patient consumer. Don't be, if you don't like the taste of that edible, don't just throw it out in the parking lot of your apartment complex.
And I think that was a lie. So there was a story in Colorado on the first day of imagine that, it was the first day of recreational use. They found a cookie in the parking lot. It's like, who throws away a $12 to $15 cookie? No one. Nobody. And I truly, to this day, don't believe it was an edible until I test it, because they just want to start the propaganda all over again. It just makes me sick.
And I don't even know who found what, but go back to parenting if you haven't taught your kids not to eat stuff out of a parking lot.
Off the ground. Good point.
I'm just going to go ahead and say.
Good point. I didn't even think about that. And good thing I don't have kids.
I know kids pick stuff up, but next one, keep a freaking eye on him in the parking lot.
Like where did that kid come from?
But
all right,
it's probably not true.
That's all we're here for.
So let's get to Eric. So tell me kind of where are you from? What have you been doing, and how did you get into cannabis?
Wow. I guess I grew up in Kansas. Spent most of the last. Where in Kansas? Lawrence, Kansas. Yeah, Chris, Lawrence, Kansas. Yeah, I thought you looked familiar. I was like, Mass Street.
It's that small.
Shout out. But yeah, I guess been out here now for just coming up on 6 years, and I've been with the Gaia's Garden Group, as it were, for just over 5 years. So,
All About Cannabis, the first one.
Thought so. Sorry.
Pretty exciting
Norm.
stuff.
Oh, Norm's not listening yet. But anyway, so how did you decide to be getting in cannabis? I mean, what were you doing before?
Well, I guess moved up.
Eric was a stripper.
He was a Chippendale in Vegas.
More like Chunkendale, but we do what we do.
Chunkendale. Oh my God, that is awesome. Anyway. So, how'd you get into it? And why edibles?
Well, moved on up to Lawrence, Kansas, and prior to that, it was just exposure to that brick product we were mentioning earlier.
The Mexican brickweed?
Right, and, it was like, high school, all right, I'm done with this. This is moving on. And then...
He's growing up, giddy up.
Actually, the summer before finishing high school, went on up to Alaska for the summer, and I was there for about a month and a half, and it wasn't until like the last couple days I was there that I finally hooked up, and some excellent Matanuska Thunder beep bleep,
Thunder bleep. Thank you.
And I was like, all right, I think we're on to something here, and then we were pretty much done with that other stuff, and life was much better. It's like, wow, this isn't just some horrible stonage. Like, it doesn't really have much effect and makes you feel kind of funky. It actually has some therapeutic, medicative effect. Yeah, it was still very recreational, but I think thinking back, you find benefits. You recognize
you so
it.
do.
Oh yeah. Every time I look back, and I was like, that's why I smoked pot.
Right.
Like,
sure.
I could slow down enough to not be manic in my own mind.
And a lot of people that I have met in this industry are like that. Of course, I'm not. I wish I was. I mean, I'm manic. Don't get me wrong, but I cannot partake and smoke cannabis and get anything done. Like, that's not me. And everyone else I know in this industry is like, I mean, Sunny, she was unreal. Like, she's like, yeah, I need to do this and this. And I'm like, I'm ready for bed, slobbering on myself.
We love Sunny, by the way.
I know, Sunny. I love you. I miss her. Anyway, so Gaia's Garden is, like I said, like some top shelf edibles. And I do believe you just added the Giddy Up bar.
Giddy Up bar, that's right. Dark chocolate and...
Dark chocolate? Wouldn't it be white chocolate?
Yeah, baby. Very dark chocolate.
Wow, you could have
delicious,
been very
effective, 200 milligrams THC.
I can't finish one. The thing bar's named after me, and I can't finish one. It's
that's because it's properly dosed and tested. Oh my God, imagine that.
That's right.
If you have an edible that's tested, it's matching. It's matching the milligrams, and for most of you who think your milligram is 100 to 200 milligrams, it's simply not. Especially if you're unfamiliar with edibles, your edible company is not testing and therefore is giving you a false dose, which we talk about all the time.
It's it's the most common thing, and yet it's funny because I'll tell anybody getting into the edible business. Eric is great at what he does with the candies. Those guys have shown me a lot. And
that's the team. That's highly trained people that have been doing it forever. I came on with this company as a sales guy 5 years ago, and it's been the easiest thing because it's just been representing them. Showcasing what they do. It's not sales. It's just
here's what I have. What would you like?
Back in the day, the pizza boxes. Everybody remembers that. And us, open it up. I'll take that whole thing, please. Says the guy behind the counter. And it was. Yeah, it was a wonderful thing being the candy man.
Yeah.
What they've pressed for real hard, the team he's referring to, is consistency. I always tell everybody this game is like your golf swing. You cannot improve your golf game until you have a consistent swing. Until you have a consistent product leaving your store and leaving your shelves, you cannot improve it.
Nope, never.
Yeah, we're working with really pretty much 100-year-old methods as far as
you have some old recipes, don't you? That's awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that's very incredible.
Yeah,
I mean, and you have how many lines are in Gaia's?
It's Gaia's Garden. Yeah, it's just Gaia's Garden. But yeah, we do hard candies, confections, chocolates. And now we're starting to expand into concentrates as well.
We're doing the concentrates, a lot of rubs, topicals is kind of our next big thing we want to, because
it's on deck.
They work, and there's still not too many people doing really good ones.
Yeah. They're out there, yeah.
There's a couple out there, and honestly, the best topicals I've seen generally come from private.
Yes, somebody at home.
Somebody at home.
Yeah, no, it's true, because they put that tender love and care in there.
Back in the day when we first started, those are one of the things that I thought was going to be snake oily. I didn't carry any of them at my dispensary because I thought they were going to be snake oil, and I wasn't going to do that to my patients. I had a vendor drop some off on sample. I had a little old lady that came in about every week, and she just had the worst rheumatoid arthritis. And she had said, asked me, I said, hey, somebody dropped some off. Do you want to take it for free and tell me if it works? Because if it does, I'll buy more from them.
Nice.
So I gave her half of the 4 little containers. And these are like little model paint size containers, for salve. She takes them, comes back the next day wanting to buy the 2. And I said, did it really work? I didn't know if it would work. Did it work better than just what you would use? She goes, it did. She goes, it didn't take all my pain away. Wasn't a miracle cure that made it go. She goes, but it made it manageable without having to go to my other pills. She said, and if I can live with it and I can operate, if it starts a little and don't have to take the pills, which mess me up, she's like, that's what I need. So after that, I carried a couple of lines of it, and it was the same story more or less. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, be on the lookout for Gaia's Gardens topicals coming.
So how technical difficulties? Oh, only I can hear the technical difficulties. Anyway, so tell me about Emotech. Tell me how you. I remember seeing one of you guys' first extraction machines.
Yeah.
Way back in the day.
They've cleaned up a little bit.
Oh yeah, but you know what? We all have. We've all learned. We've all progressed. We've all done things better. It's a new industry. And so tell me when it was that you were like, you know what? I just need to make an extraction machine. It
was, I'd been doing tube extraction since the early Yeah. Boo, man. That's how we learn, Right. There was no, this is how long I've been doing extracts. My homeboy Chief went and got a job at O'Keefe with his design of the first stainless steel tube for mass production. That was from my inner circle, the Keep It Concentrated crew. We're talking 2002.
Those guys?
Yeah, Kick.
Oh, Keep It. I was thinking of Stayed. There's so many concentrated.
No. This was just this was a forum, a group of people that we all did little tube blasting, and we shared knowledge with each other. We were the only people on the internet. We weren't even in the same state. Most of us were spread across the country. Right. Small scale, taking pictures, showing each other. Letting each other try stuff out on like a 0.2. Here's your 0.2 to try out, like you're welcome. Now, we're dropping slabs on each other like it's it's a competition. But back then it was, here's a 0.2, here's 2 separate, they didn't even have dab rigs back then.
No, hold it. What was dabbing in the 80s?
Knife hits.
That's right.
PTK,
hot knives, but that was a dabber.
But that wasn't a rig.
Well, it wasn't a rig. But that was a dab.
I knew guys that had rigs. They got their knives quick.
That was a dab.
All right.
No, but
to all the glass blowers listening, I need 2 borosilicate butter knives made, and I need a glass 2-liter bottle that's been cut in half.
No, I didn't do that. I did a toilet paper roll.
That
was classy. I did it once. I barfed. I never did hash again until I got in this industry.
Well, in a lot of that, people were still smoking ISO oil.
It was brick.
It was more, and it was
brick weed. I mean, brick hash.
Pressed keef hash,
which
which can be good. I personally like a lot of keef hashes. I like Nicotee's solventless.
I do too.
I like Jibs is solventless.
See, people don't understand that these are like craft beers.
Oh yeah,
these are so different from one another. It is unbelievable the science just to extracts, and we've just scratched the surface. I think
you see a lot of people's techniques are very proprietary to them. People hold that very close. At Emotech a couple of years ago, we decided to take the step of going. We build the machines. Here's what you get. You want the machine. Let us show you how we do it. We're quality hash makers. I think if you ask anybody, we'll teach you how we do our thing, how it works, and get everybody on the step. We can be hot shots and we can all bang on who's the best, or we can let the customers decide, and we can let the awards decide.
You can make your best and then see who's buying it, because that's really what decides. I don't care who wins a contest. I don't care. I mean, although the contests are, I would be super happy if I made something and won. Right. But most of those are rigged. And I truly believe, except the THC. I think THC is totally true, but it doesn't mean it's the best product.
As far as the High Times Cannabis Cup in Amsterdam, there was not a more surprised person in the room that I had just won a cannabis cup besides me. Really? I was packing my bags to go home. I've said the same thing.
Well, not this guy, but I thought the same thing you did, right?
And don't get me wrong, I did too. And I don't know what's different between the American Cups. We're entered in them, and I'll stay with them, and I'll be real honest with you if I think they're rigged.
Well, you should never let people sponsor a competition and then be part of that. That's what THC does not do. That they don't let any sponsors.
I've seen that they from people entering in other cups. You can buy a judge's pack, but you won't get anything from the competition that you're in. You may get a flower pack to judge if you're a hash maker, and an edible pack to judge if you entered a hash, but you can't.
But you still sponsor. They cannot have sponsorships. Because if you look, every High Times, a sponsor wins.
Is it? Well, it's because everybody honestly, it's the way not I say the way it's rigged, but the way it's set up is to that if you sponsor, you get a discount on all your entries, and most people are entering 6, 7, 8 entries.
So that's it. That's bad right there.
Well, different categories. And
I know, but still, you get a discount, so that's not fair already.
Oh, I personally think there could be a way to impose more confidence in the judging process. Like I said, the High Times in Amsterdam is ran differently.
Differently.
I don't know how I've never won a cup here. I've seen.
But have you entered?
Have I entered? Twice. And for the same reason, I saw people with worse product than mine winning cups. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't have the marketing to battle like that. I don't have
more importantly, you have a reputation now for having good concentrates.
And integrity.
And a mohawk.
And a mohawk.
And integrity, yes. People, you know what? It's just, when I met you, I totally did the judge thing, and then you opened your mouth, and I was like, wow, this kid knows what he's doing. Holy crap. And it's terrible. We all do that.
I wear dress shoes and dress pants now to throw y'all a bone.
Oh, no, I saw you, at that cannabis event, and I was like, he's got a blazer on. He looked really nice. And that's why I want more upscale events, because I feel like you'll get rid of the T-shirt, tie-dye BS that I love, but it's not every event.
But you know what? And I want to say that to people throwing events out there, guys, break the mold. Break the mold. It doesn't have to be, can I say ass shaking? Is that on the radio?
I guess you just did.
I guess I just did. My bad.
Beep.
Beep.
Beep shaking.
Beep shaking. It doesn't have to be flat brims and hat pins every event. I understand that is a large part of our demographic of who we provide our services to. reach out, man.
No, but I don't think that's true. It's just those are the ones that will come out of the
right
closet.
Now, that's who we provide. That's who we cater to.
There are so many people that smoke. I mean, doctors, lawyers,
and if we
your
start
accountant.
throwing events that are more catered to the people away from our culture,
yes,
we will see more people indulging.
Well, that's why, on the interviews on that first day, you talked about kind of having a stereotypical or fitting a mold for who they wanted to interview. It might not have been that so much. It's that they went down the line. Can we interview you? Well, actually, I'm a teacher.
No, that could have been it, but I doubt it. And you're right.
I
bet some of them were like, I don't want to be on TV. You're
Ah.
absolutely right. That's why more professional people need to step out and quit being afraid of the perception.
Very much. I walked into on the day one of rec, right below your office.
Yep. We can say it. The clinic.
The clinic. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what issues there were.
No.
The clinic, and then there's over 1,000 people walked through the door that day conservatively.
And Giddy Up was so nice. He was in the.
I was an ambassador.
He was an ambassador. He was in the waiting room. Now the nice thing is it snowed that day, and the clinic that's in my building, it was perfect. It's perfect for lines inside. And then Weed Maps has a special. They have a lot of space in there, and they had a special area, and so they put chairs out. It was really cool. They put chairs out, and then they sent Giddy out. And food. They sent Giddy Up out to just talk to people and give them a warm and fuzzy, and I thought that was pretty cool.
And we even. Inspired by everybody's positive attitude, we decided to go a step further. And our company, Apex Pen, gave away 20 vaporizer pens to people waiting in line that day.
Did you really?
Yeah, we had a little contest, like who drove the furthest.
That's
Who's
awesome.
been in line the longest, and just stuff like that. We walked around
that's
and
cool.
And that's it's fun to do. It's fun to brighten people's ears. And we did a question and answer every day, every couple of hours for everybody that was out of town that didn't know about our rules and regulations and how things work here.
See, that's awesome.
So it was informative too.
Because we don't want to get people in trouble, and we don't want people to get in trouble.
And as you know, I'm friendly with the Weed Maps guys and their film crew and stuff, and they had some people filming, and we were
Who
like,
filled the granny?
huh?
Remember the little granny?
Yeah, it was me.
that you?
Well, no, it was that me and her were standing there talking, and
She was so cute.
she said something while a room of other stoners were standing there all yapping over each other, talking about cannabis, and she said something that I'll never forget, and she says to this lady standing there, she goes, I've survived the Great Depression, countless wars. I'm 86 years old, and today has got to be the most interesting day in my life. And I told everybody in the room, I was like, everybody shut up. Shut up. Did y'all hear what she just said? I was like, how old are you? 24. How old are you? 30. How old are you? 21. This woman is 86, and y'all are sharing her most interesting day of her life.
That's cool.
Like, if that doesn't tell you about the change for some people, not everybody, but the way some people feel what we're doing, old, young, black, white, foreign and domestic, like
old,
across
young,
the board.
Yeah.
Poor,
rich.
There's somebody that's been on this planet for almost 90
That's
years.
amazing.
That thought January 1st, 2014 was one of the most important days of her history.
It's unbelievable. And I saw that and I started to get tears in my eyes. I'm like, oh my God, like that's who we need. Why don't you interview her? Because I guarantee she would have said something to the news.
And you know what?
Right.
She did not smoke. She told me about 50 years ago, taking it out of her son's pocket when he'd leave it in the pocket and she'd do laundry and she would scold him for it, and
right.
And she didn't smoke. She had no desire to buy anything or to smoke anything. She just wanted to see.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No, so there's a line there with all those people. They walk her in. You know me. I got a little bit of pull at a couple of these places. So I took her on a little private tour of the clinic and explained to her. And the clinic was nice enough to, while they had 400 people standing in their line
4
to come
hours
in,
waiting,
they took the time for me to walk her into the bud bar.
Mm-hmm.
They let her look, smell, see all the products, explain to her, answer any questions, which took about 10 minutes. If you were anywhere on recreational, 10 minutes was a long time in the bud room.
3 people.
Yeah.
That knew what they want.
They totally talked to her, and as I walked her back out to her family, and I don't think she knew I was still walking behind her, and she reaches up and she covers her mouth, and she goes, I can't believe they were so nice to me. She expected us to be drug dealers.
Right.
She expected us to
Gangsters.
You
Yeah,
know,
not knowledgeable.
not
Not
the
not
guys
yeah.
at the clinic, which who are
Top of the line.
I've seen a lot of bud crews around
Top of
bud
the line.
tending.
They get a lot of education.
They
The most
very
knowledgeable
strict.
around,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I mean,
Amongst most.
I give them that.
Definitely.
You know, she was taken aback, and her family there with her was just completely appreciative of, you know, us helping her in that way. So, you know, we won one that day, and we can do
You bet.
this every day. Our doors are open.
Then we've
Every
won.
store.
We've
It's
won.
a matter of time.
It is. Oh no, it's a matter of time anyway.
3 to 5 years federally.
Yep, I say 5 years right now, maybe a little sooner, but there's no doubt about it. And the point is, we just need to legalize, regulate, take it out of the hands of the drug dealers, and tax it, and help our country and help our fellow community get money into the schools. There's
it's
nothing.
gone-
What is the bad? I mean, devil's advocate. What's
Devil's
bad?
advocate. I'll tell you,
Yeah,
devil's
tell
advocate
me
right
devil's
now.
advocate.
Private prison is a large employer in this state, large employer in Oklahoma. You
It's
were
called
going
prison for profit.
prison
Right.
for profit. You were going to lose that.
Well,
That's a lot of money.
They,
you can't
they,
say we
they
can't.
get $40,000 an inmate. I heard.
Yeah, it's
so that's an
and
average
it's
per
really-
year.
That's what you know. That's what you know how they're
Right.
spending our tax money.
Right.
Realistically, that probably doesn't include the separate check for this bonus for incarcerating
Right.
extra. I mean, it could
Right.
be anything. They could just be pouring it in dump trucks into their safe vaults at this point. We would have no
Right.
idea.
Okay, so prisons.
Well, you know, you'd lose that. When we talk about all the miracle things that hemp and hemp agriculturally can do, you have to ask yourself, does it legitimately increase the production and the jobs felt for the amount of products that we're going to be trying to take away? You know, hemp can be used as
We
a
will. Better material. I mean, all over, right?
All over. I mean,
Better
but
than-
it'll be a shift of money. So whereas you're talking about a net gain of jobs, maybe, but the switching over to a larger agricultural industry, while pulling away from more of maybe a chemical petroleum processing, manufacturing, those guys are going to lose jobs. We're not saying that this is a miracle plant that is going to make
then cure and do everything.
and do everything.
No,
And
we're
there's not going to be side effects from our growing industry. Some of those side effects right now is, have you looked at the people that make pill bottles? We're feeding them. We're feeding them. Guys that make ancillary products, we're feeding all these other industries. But we also have industries that are going to lose by our success. The best thing that you can think of is it's petroleum industries, it's prison
Pharmaceutical.
industries, it's pharmaceuticals. We don't want them having our money anyways.
No, we don't.
And
that's the big thing. That's honestly, you guys, and I'm going to say it here and now. I think we just leave the Schedule 1 and get it going, because even though it's a complete lie and we just need to educate on that, but once we deschedule it, I believe it needs to be descheduled to nutraceuticals, because it's a plant.
Very much so.
It's an antibiotic.
We don't want those other
It's-
guys to have anything to do with what we're putting in our body.
Nothing.
Let us explain that for everybody that's
Nothing.
listening real quick. What we're talking about here is rescheduling from Schedule 1 to Schedule 2.
So what else is? Explain what Schedule 1 is. Heroin, meth.
Schedule 1's heroin, meth,
highly addictive,
deadly.
deadly, high for abuse, and no medicinal benefit. That's Schedule 1.
It's Schedule 1.
No,
Cocaine,
and cocaine,
cocaine is not.
2.
Cocaine
Schedule
is
2.
2 because cocaine is used in Novocaine, lidocaine. There's actual medicinal cocaine is a real thing. Not that you're going to snort a line of it, but it's used to process other
Sure.
drugs that they make.
Sure.
Same thing with opiates.
Right.
You know.
So anyway, Schedule 1.
What will happen if they change Schedule 1 is they will rip cannabis from the people's hands and they will give it to the pharmaceutical companies,
Yep,
and
they
they will
will.
destroy it, and it will be an end. It will be criminal for you to try and procure your own medicine. That's the beautiful thing about cannabis is we're
Yes.
taking medicine that they haven't bothered with trying to steal from
No,
us.
because
They'd
they
rather
can't
fight
make
it.
enough money with it.
Yeah. We're going to take
'Cause
that
you're
and
not
keep
gonna-
it in the people's hands.
It's whole plant medicine too. That's what. And okay, so let's get back to the CBD only. I just saw something on Facebook, and I'm like, Georgia CBD only. I'm like, okay, hold on a second, people. There is a difference between no THC and high ratios of CBD to THC,
Right.
Which CBD counteracts some of the THC, and it's better. I think you have to
It's
have
showing
all
us
of
that
it.
it's showing us that definite effect. I don't know And nobody really knows exactly what's going on because they won't let us find out. But what CBD smokers, people who smoke CBD and then smoke it recreationally, like because it tastes good, because it does. Like the natural taste of CBDs is like cherry cough drops. It's delectable. But
if you like that kind of thing.
If you like that kind of thing.
If you like that.
But they say, oh man, I smoked that, and then I went back and I did some dabs of some THC, regular stuff, and I didn't get stoned off of it. They're like, I didn't feel it recreationally. Like I don't like CBD because of that.
Because they filled the receptors.
They filled the receptors. You've only got so many receptors that can soak all this up, and when they're full of CBD, not getting you a psychoactive effect, they're blocking THC coming in. So
let me ask you this: if you've over smoked or over medicated, somebody told me that smoking CBD helps you wind that down, along with sugar. But I don't know if you guys have ever tried that, but that's what I've heard.
I love CBD in the evening, and I've known that I've noticed that if I'm running low and all I've got is like a sativa shatter or sativa wax and some CBD, like I usually will just not smoke at the night because I try to sleep. But if I got CBD, I'm like, oh, I can smoke the sativa for 30 minutes, and then I'll go take 2 fat dabs of CBD, and I'll be right back to bed.
And he'll put down some candy. I've seen it happen.
I put down concentrates, bro. I put down edibles. I put down cannabis. I am a loving, enthusiastic supporter of excess and consumption when it comes to me. That's me personally. I don't preach that.
And guess what? You have a job. You're not lazy.
Right.
I mean, it's the same
thing. I don't
thing.
just have a job. I'm an employer that gives other people jobs.
That give other people's jobs. You pay taxes. You're creating revenue. But that's what I'm saying. It's like, we are running out of time.
Massive amounts of economic return that we're bringing to this state.
There's no such thing.
And all the
there's a lazy dispensary.
Other aspects of industry and commerce within the state. I mean, I know there was a study that came out of University of Colorado Springs a year or two ago, talking about all the other job growth from things like Excel to the grocery stores. From housing. It's
the security companies that came and shook our hand and said, "Bro, we haven't worked for 4 months before dispensaries started opening. Like, I get to give my family Christmas this year." Like hearing that from electricians, just like
electricians for sure. And listen, I just did a huge build out, so I gave a lot of contractors, not to mention the government, a lot of money. So it's unbelievable. But again, back to the whole plant medicine, it really is. It's about the ratios. It's not about the number. It's about the ratios of the cannabinoids amongst each other.
If you take anything from this, take this rescheduling legislation and CBD only legislation are a fallacy that will show failure for our cause, because they will implement it and it will not work. And it will be a black eye to us who are working a model and showing a model that works. Regulation works.
Have you ever, has either of you ever taken Marinol?
I haven't. I have a friend that takes Marinol.
I tried it once.
Have you? And what is it like?
It's, I guess I'd say almost really clean, like a pure THC concentrate. I mean, it's just kind of
narcotic-y.
Yeah, I mean, no, I wouldn't even say narcotic-y. It was, I don't know. There wasn't much to it. It was not what I was looking for. It was maybe even closer to that brick-like product in effect.
Right. They just don't work. I mean, taking the cannabinoids out.
My friend Adam took what was it? It was like a 4 or 5. I don't remember how the Marinols are done in their milligrams.
I don't know.
But he was taking them because he was on probation, and they approved him for taking Marinol on probation, and he said they made him sleep, but he didn't feel the effects that he was going for when he used cannabis regularly. It didn't work for him like cannabis did, but at the same time he was being told that's all you can take, and he wasn't going to stop.
Yeah, it would help with my migraines and help to keep it from happening.
Did it? So it says
I have spent some time on probation.
Let's see. Increasing your appetite is the first step in improving your nutritional status. Marinol is used for loss of appetite associated with weight loss in people with AIDS. Marinol is a class of medications called cannabinoids. Oh, I know what that is. I
But
know
yeah,
what that is.
it's the whole plant. It's not just the cannabinoids or.
It's all the cannabinoids.
Emphasis.
It is. It's all of them, and we're learning more uses for them every day. The ratios that I say we're getting to play with, I use that term very lightly. The ratios and the mixes, that's designer cure, baby. That's designer cure.
You bet it is. It's going to, the future is having a plant with the exact ratios you want for the exact whatever it is you have. That is the future.
Or being able to take those and understand this, anybody that listens for research for state legislation, mixing our extracts after they're done is a very simple way to bypass a lot of the breeding required to get the ratios that you want. Through proper testing with facilities like Can Labs, we are able to tell and count everything that we have in there, and then we are able to mix them. So if we mix them, designer.
Well, that's the thing. So it's going to go from, okay, this plant has a lot of CBD in it. This plant has a lot of CBC. This plant has a lot of THC, and then you mix. But then the ultimate is having a plant that you just make into extract, and it's already got the ratio that you want. Well, let's talk about real quick before very controversial. You know what I'm saying? Butane.
Butane.
Talk about butane versus CO2, and why would somebody? Tell me why people choose butane over CO2.
People choose BHO over CO2 oil for a couple of reasons. Namely, the reason that we see from the imbibers is it acquires a more well-rounded terpene profile.
Which are the smells.
The smells, the taste, and that, and which
and
actually
effectiveness.
Very
really
back to what the topic we just got off. That combination. If you separate it out and don't have any of it and just isolate it, you get back to that more Marinol-like product.
Because CO2 does not pull.
Not in the same way.
Not in the same way.
The different process causes different effects on the product. You can see CO2 oil generally is a little less viscous. It's a little runnier. It's rarely ever as potent right?
Oh, yeah.
Usually
butane is killing it, yeah.
Yeah, yield-wise, return, which is probably, everybody that's got the checkbook in their pocket's main concern is the yields are nowhere near what you're getting with this solvent. Now, some of the problems. The problem is as butane becomes popular, people blast tubes, thinking you have to be an idiot to blow yourself up blasting tubes is the absolute first step in blowing yourself up blasting tubes. There's no way around it. I know some very smart people that have had ignitions.
You have to be an idiot to blast tubes.
Yes.
Not to say.
Especially right now when there's so much stuff available and you know better. Make a water hash then, buddy.
Yeah.
Get a crock pot.
Let's learn from other people. Let's move on from that.
Right.
I personally think it's very important, and like the way we're going to stop all this is when the state of Colorado says that you as a patient can bring your product to me to process for you.
Agreed.
I will, if we can get that passed, I will make it so that
so
it's so cheap.
So are you lobbying this year for that?
I would love to make that my deal this year.
Okay, so you need to start because legislation started. It's very important because people don't get that, and nobody probably has brought it up to people. But once you start saying, hey, listen, if you don't allow people to process and you want them to process at home, they're going to blow up their house because they're not going to stop using tools that they can get at the hardware. Right. So let's talk about that after the show because I really want to get involved. But 50.0 parts per million, Colorado maximum. What do you think about that for butane?
I think it's too low.
Okay. Washington, 500 parts per million.
I think that's adequate.
Okay.
And honestly, with as much testing as most of the people that I run with do, different companies, the majority of the people I associate myself with are people that do my job at other big companies. I've seen their test results. I can pick through which labs are crap and which labs aren't, Don't roll up on me with no herbal synergy test results or I'm just going to make fun of you.
Hi, Charlie.
Yeah, I
love you. And seeing that I've seen awesome tasting stuff have 800 parts per million. Mm-hmm. I've started to notice the same nose tingle that you have for residual solvents around 1,000, 1,100.
So you can
filter.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you've done so much. Like I would never know. Like even Chris in the lab was like, "Yep, this is it. This is he gets familiar with it."
You remember when I used to drop off my tests?
Yeah.
Like I tried to call it before it came out.
Oh, I know you do, and you always wanted to be responsible about it too.
Yeah.
You were always, totally.
And we see that. So
50 is ridiculous,
50
and
is ridiculous. And from what I was told, I was actually told that work groups. The work group that was going on the testing had some of the feedback from another testing company that I don't believe exists anymore. And that testing company had ridiculously low test scores because they were falsifying the test scores because they didn't actually have the technology to do it. And when they were spouting that in the air, the work group went off the wrong numbers. And they looked at it from an EPA standard where the lowest is the best. They went with the company that was telling them the lowest. Now they're finding out from everyone, and even new people that are just showing up into the testing here. This was actually discussed at my meeting with Steve Hill. Now they're having to go back and go, the data that you guys had was inaccurate, and it's not.
We recommended 500 parts per million. We felt it was right in line, and our data proved that. We showed data. We said, we have some people over that, and we have a lot of people under it. And it's attainable. That's the most important thing here, is that it's attainable and doesn't start wiping out companies, which the government is saying, oh, we don't want to do that.
Right, but this is a way too. I tell you right now, I've ran thousands of pounds of nug, thousands of pounds of trim. I've made every kind of extract finished under the sun that you could possibly think of. Wax tests lower on residual solvents, almost hands down.
High.
Shatter tests higher.
Yep.
And in order to get something under 50 parts per million, it's next to impossible. It's next to impossible to get the product that you guys that are listening right now that may smoke, love, and enjoy and use. It's next to impossible to get that process down under 50
edibles.
ppm.
Edibles completely different.
Oh no,
Edibles
we're just talking.
completely
We're
different.
just talking extract. And listen,
Just make sure we all know that, yeah.
but listen, we're all adults here, and this is recreation. So you tell, just as long as everybody that's buying extracts understands this is how much you have in it, let them buy it if they want to.
Well, and it's in the most
just
simple
as long
terms,
as they know,
sure.
which they don't.
But I equate
now.
it like
Can
this.
we get
If
some
you-
numbers on the Bic stand next to on the convenience store for
So-
every time somebody lights their cigarette?
Yeah,
Well,
because you're
that's
essentially pulling
interesting, or
combusted,
bongs.
or you're pulling
Right.
combusted butane through a straw.
I'm very interested about that.
I guarantee you the ppms are in the at least 5 to 6 digits. Like we're talking.
The
If you
worst-
spend more than
so guess-
1.5 seconds lighting this thing, how much are you getting?
The worst numbers we've gotten, it was not on butane. Guess what it was?
I'm gonna go with isopropyl alcohol, or maybe
Close.
Close. Ethanol? No. Let's see.
Acetone.
Acetone.
Jesus, absolutely.
Well,
So,
yeah.
no,
yeah,
you
yeah,
ready
yeah.
for this? And we have to wrap up. But it was a finished capsule that a patient brought in. Finished capsule, you guys, ready to ingest. 55,000 parts per milligram of acetone and 23,000 parts per million of isopropyl alcohol. I immediately called the store and said, this is a courtesy call. That's it. But you might want to pull those pills off your shelf because XYZ. She goes, but I have a closed loop butane system. I'm like, well, then you're
Should
not,
be using
you're
it.
cleaning. Yeah, you're doing something really wrong.
It's something that later in the process, I'm
Yeah.
guessing, with them to make it.
Well,
to
and
break it down.
isopropyl under certain conditions turns to acetone, which is what I think you. Because anything freaky that happens, I call Getty up. I'm like, can this do this? What have you seen here? Because I'm not an extraction.
The dehydrogenation of isopropyl alcohol into acetone,
Right.
which is what got me thinking people were using isopropyl and stuff
Cleaning.
to cleaning, heating up, get through, and it was being registered as acetone.
So you need to clean with that and then clean with soap and water.
Yes, clean
correct?
with that, and then clean with soap and water on everything you do. When we talk about ppms real quick,
Yeah.
my comparison I always explain to everybody like this. If we go to an open field and we take 1 million people and we put them in white T-shirts and we stand them in this field,
Okay.
we pull 500 of them out and we put black T-shirts on them.
Right.
You will walk all day and never see a man in a black T-shirt. It's so minuscule when you're talking parts per
A million. That's a great analogy. I'm going to start using that.
Sure.
by Giddy Up. Okay, boys, give a little commercial about yourself and how to get a hold of you.
Gaia's Garden. Check out our website. Hit us up on Facebook. Gaia's Garden Edibles. Let me give some more shout outs.
Gaia'sGardenEdible.com.
Yep.
Okay.
Gaia'sGardenGroup.com is the website.
Okay.
Add us on Facebook, Gaia's Garden Edibles.
Take you there. Updates coming. It's being revamped as we speak.
Support us in our entry in the LA, the San Bernardino Cup, edible number 5.
Are you going?
We're entered. We entered our Karma Candy.
So when are you going? Karma Candy. I love the name.
I leave, I think, tomorrow.
Okay, what about Emotech?
Emotechlabs.com. We're doing
EMOTEK.com. Don't assume people know how to spell tech with TEK.
Yeah, I'm bad about it. Add me on Facebook at Giddy Up. I love to answer questions, talk to people. I'm pretty approachable. I like long walks on the beach. And if you're lucky, I'll let you touch me. You can also add Emotech Labs on Facebook. To be honest, we get a lot of traffic, and it's some of the best ways to get a hold of us. It's always on the phone.
And if you can't find them there, you can find them at Genifer at canlabs.com, Genifer at canlabs.com. Thank you so much, guys.
Shout outs, Rhone Glass, Apex Pen.
Apex Pen.
Hi-Fi Edibles.
Okay, jeez. All right.
Hold on, I got a list.
See you next week.